According to the Statistical Institute of Belize, the economy grew by 3.2% in the fourth quarter of 2023. This growth was attributed to the tertiary sector, which observed an 8.8 increase of about $70.3 million in comparison to the fourth quarter of 2022. S.I.B credits this growth to the strong performance of the industries within the service sector.
The tertiary sector went from $797.1 million in quarter 4 of 2022 to $867.4 million for quarter 4 of 2023. This is an increase of $70.3 million or 8.8%. Mainly driven by an increase in the hotels and restaurants industry, transportation, we see arts, entertainment, and recreation, the industries that have a tie to the increase in tourism movement, right? Looking at the other services, admin and support services went up by 4.5%, as we see an increase in BPOs and also travel agencies and tour operators. So two things that are increasing, the call centers, and since we have tourism movement, we see the travel agencies and tour operators also increasing. We have increases in real estate, 1.8%, human health, 2.4%, slight decreases for wholesale and retail trade, communication, and other services.
Adversely, the primary and secondary sectors contracted, undergoing a 3.1 and 2.8 decrease respectively. This puts the primary sector down by an estimated $5 million and the secondary sector down by $8.8 million. These declines were attributed to poor weather conditions that negatively impacted water levels and subsequently resulted in low crop outputs and electricity generation.
Now, for banana, if we look at the levels, that 21.3 is still low, but 2022 was such a down year that when we compare the two periods together, we will observe an increase. But compared to before 2022, we see that overall banana is still down, right? So we will have that trend for most of the crops, that for the entire year, if we look at the sum of it, it will be down due to the weather conditions for most of them. Now conversely, we see an increase for livestock. So overall, livestock saw an increase of 18.4%, where we had cattle up by 24.5%, pig up by 22.1%, and poultry up by 11.2%. So even though we saw declines in the crop, livestock offset that decrease, and that's why when we look at the primary sector overall, even though the crops were affected, we saw 0.8% decline because of the livestock going up.
External trade reports from February 2024 revealed an increase of 13.7% of imports and an 8.1% decrease of domestic exports. The most notable contributors to the increase in imports were machinery and transport equipment, as well as minerals, fuels, and other lubricants. The decrease in domestic exports revenue was attributed to several key exports.
Animal feed revenue plummeted from 10.1 million to 2.8 million as exported quantities fell by more than 2/3 during the period. Likewise, sugar exports saw a notable decrease of 6.8 million, dropping from 10.7 million to 3.8 million, with earnings down by 64%. Reduced exports of lobster products and shrimps during the period led to a 3.8 million decline in revenues from marine products, dropping from 7.1 million to 3.2 million. Diminished volumes of orange concentrate also contributed to a downturn in exported citrus, declining from 4 million to 1.7 million. Despite the general decline in domestic exports, bananas experienced a significant increase of 7.4 million, surging from 5.1 million to 12.5 million, with quantities more than doubling for the period. Additionally, Other exports category went up by 1.8 million, from 6.2 million to 7.9 billion, due to wooden furnitures and crude soybean oil.
Britney Gordon for News 5.